Great. Yeah. Hello and welcome to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, the podcast that is dedicated to exploring the profound connection between our mental well being and our overall quality of life. I'm your host, Avik, and I'm thrilled to have a very special guest with us today. Joining us is none other than Yogi Aaron, one of the most sought after teachers in the world of yoga. Yogi is trailblazing a new path, challenging traditional beliefs and about stretching and flexibility. His unique perspectives on these subjects have propelled him to the forefront of yoga community as he strives to help people live pain-free lives while embracing the true intentions of yoga. So Yogi Aaron is the creator of the groundbreaking approach of yoga called applied yoga anatomy plus muscle activation, which is AYAMA. So through this innovative methodology, he has transformed countless lives, guiding individuals to unlock their body's potential and find freedom from pain. So, as the co owner of the esteemed Blue OSA Yoga Retreat and Spa in Costa Rica, Yogi Aaron leads the Yogi Club Yoga Teacher Training Immersions, attracting students from around the globe. He is a multi talented individual, that's for sure, no doubt, extending his influence beyond the mat. He hosts his own yoga podcast titled Stop Stretching, where he shares his wisdom and insights with a wide audience. So he has also authored two books, Autobiography of a Naked Yoga and his latest release, Stop Stretching, a new yogic approach to master your body plus live pain-free. So his journey as a captivating, like as his teachings, so from starting the global movement of men's naked yoga in the New York City to enduring a life-altering accident in the sacred Himalayas, as he has consistently demonstrated his resilience and determination. So today he embarks on a mission to empower individuals to live pain-free lives, drawing from his own healing journey and his deep connection with yoga. So get ready to be inspired as we dive into Yogi's transformative experiences, his innovative yogic approach, and the profound impact it can have on our physical and mental well being. So stay tuned for an enlightening conversation filled with wisdom, laughter, and the power to transform your perspective on yoga, stretching, and living a pain free life. So, welcome, Yogi, to the show Healthy Mind and Healthy Life.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that very beautiful introduction. That was very kind.
Absolutely. So, I'm really like me, I believe all my listeners are also so much excited to learn more about your innovative approach to yoga and how it's revolutionizing the flexibility. So, with this, can you before we deep dive into this topic, like can you share with us what inspired you to challenge traditional perspectives on flexibility and stretching?
Mhm. Yeah, so I've been doing yoga. I'm 51 years old right now. I've been doing yoga more or less since I was 18 years old. And doing yoga, one of the very first things that didn't hurt myself during yoga was when I was out of my life. But the thing that changed was that I was doing yoga. And when I say yoga, when I was doing yoga, what I should really say was that I was stretching because, I needed to stretch. My muscles were really tight. And so I started doing yoga really to stretch. So for me, like when I say yoga at that time period, it really means stretching. And I was doing something in my life, and then my back completely cramped up. It seized up, and I ended up with a lot of back pain and couldn't barely walk for like a week. And the solution was to do more yoga, to do more stretching, and I would go to yoga teachers and I would say, well, my back is that great, and they would say, we need to stretch your hamstrings, we need to stretch your back. And so I did. And my problems got worse and worse and worse. I've been to the Himalayas so many times, but I've also ended up with debilitating knee pain. And so that also got worse over time as well. And so I ended up in a doctor's office, a surgeon's office when I was around 45. And he told me that I might need a spinal fusion in my lower back. And that was like a big wake up moment for me. I had been dealing with chronic pain most of my life that wasn't getting better because of all the stretching. It was actually getting worse. And at that moment was kind of like a big light bulb moment. There was a few light bulb moments for me, but that was one of them. And I just realized there must be another way. There must be another path. And I realized something as well, that so many people get so obsessed with the yoga postures and seeing these people doing these incredible postures, but that's not yoga. That's just making a posture, and that's not really yoga. And so we've forgotten why we're doing these postures. What is the purpose of a yoga posture? We've forgotten that purpose. And if you ask most yoga teachers, and I'm not making a joke, although it is funny. Well, maybe it's not funny, but if you ask most yoga teachers, like more than 99% of yoga teachers in America, maybe India as well, don't know why we do yoga postures. And they say, well, it makes you feel good. Well, a lot of things make you feel good. Smoking marijuana makes you feel good. Drinking wine makes you feel good. Eating chocolate feels good. So just because something makes you feel good doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. So like, what is it about the posture that makes you like, why do we do asana? And they can't tell you. Most yoga teachers don't know why. So that's kind of what I realized in that moment. I started to make it my mission to understand the body, understand anatomy. This is a very common phrase in America, not maybe, I don't know, in India, but we have to open our hips, and we need to have open hips. Well, what does that mean? If you have open hips, you've got dislocated hips and you need surgery. So it's like, I don't think we need yoga people to have open hips. We actually need to have stronger hips. And but then if you ask most yoga teachers, well, why should you open the hips? Again, they'll say, well, it makes you feel better. And then you say, well, what muscles attach to the hips? And they won't tell you. They can't tell you. They don't know. And so I made it my mission to understand the body and then teach people about the body in a fun way that's accessible, but also empowering others to live pain-free, to become pain-free through these practices, because we don't have to be in pain, and we can fix our bodies.
Wow, that's so lovely. Like, yeah, it's like there are a lot of things like which maybe definitely people are not aware of, and I wish like people definitely gonna love this show because they're getting to know a lot of new things as well. So Yeah, that's really awesome. And so also, like, I was reading you about you and about your videos about bio. So your applied yoga anatomy plus the AYAMA uh,
Yes,
method has
muscle activation.
yeah, muscle activation, yes.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So that method has garnered attention for its ability to help individuals achieve a pain-free body. So, could you break down the key principles or techniques involved, and also if you can but explain like how they contribute to this transformation?
Well, the very first principle of AYAMA is to stop stretching. And so to kind of back up 1 second, we have to understand like muscles work. Like in order for a muscle to work, it has to be connected to, for lack of better words right now, the brain. So there's a telephone line between the brain and the muscle. So when you're doing anything in life, if you go shopping and you pick up your bag of groceries, you have to use muscles. Well, if those muscles are not connected to the brain can't send a message to them saying, hey, you've got to work. And so if you pick up that bag of groceries without your muscles working, then you end up using something you should not use, which is why you end up with pain. Like, maybe your grandma or your mother went shopping and they're like, oh, I hurt something today. Well, that's because their muscles are not connecting. The correct muscles are not connecting. And so a lot of our muscles are not connecting because of stress and trauma and overuse. And so when we stretch a muscle, we're actually causing stress to that muscle. And so when we cause stress to the muscle disconnects. That telephone line between the brain and the muscle literally cuts. It's like, so we actually leave yoga classes weaker than when we started. And you can see people too when they're walking around after yoga, they're kind of hunched over, they're sort of limping sometimes. And the reason for that is because their muscles are not working. Their muscles are not, working properly. And so what I do, the very first principle of AYAMA is stop stretching. And then you think, well, how does that happen? Like, because they're all yoga postures. It's the way that we approach the posture. And so the second principle of AYAMA is to start activating or practice those postures dynamically. So I'll give you 2 examples. And there's one example like Supta Uttita Padangustasana. So when you're lying on your back and you bring your leg up, normally you would grab the leg or you would grab the shin or you would grab the foot, or you would use a yoga strap to pull the foot towards you. In AYAMA, what we do is we actually leave the arms down and we use our muscles to bring the leg up. And so in this way, we actually start activating the correct muscles. We start using, so the muscles that are bringing the leg up are all the hip flexors, more specifically the quadriceps, the quads, the front of the leg. And so those muscles start actually working, which is good. You want those muscles to actually start activating. And so we do not use our hands to pull the foot in. If we do another pose, like say Parsvottanasana, sometimes referred to as pyramid pose, instead of reaching the hands to the ground and try to pull yourself forward, leave your hands on your hips and only come forward 1/3, only come forward 30%. And when you're at 30%, focus on squeezing your core, focus on elongating the spine, focus on engaging the quads of both legs. I said earlier that most yoga teachers do not understand why we practice asana. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, it's very clear why we practice asana. We practice asana to get stable. And he says in Sutra 248, that when we practice asana correctly, that the pairs of opposites no longer influence us. That means that in our mind, we're no longer being pulled by pleasure and running away from pain, that these two, pleasure and pain, is no longer affecting us, and we become balanced. Well, the gift of asana, the gift of yoga postures, is that we become more balanced so that we're not being bothered by emotional about everything in life, And ultimately, when that becomes quiet in the mind, we're able to focus on life's bigger purpose. But what most people do is they focus on becoming the posture. They focus on becoming the shape of the pose. And when we focus on that intensely, we lose sight of what it is that we're actually doing, and our ego starts to become more firm, like, oh, a better sort of thing, start activating, and then we get into the muscle activation part of it.
Wow, that's really great. I'm just taking a pause here because I guess the internet connection is not that good. I'm just changing this connection. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's better now. Yeah, it's better right now.
It sounds great.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Great. So like it's really fascinating that to hear that you believe stretching can sometimes do more harm than good. So could you
I wouldn't say sometimes, I
okay,
would say all the time.
all the
Any
time?
kind of stretching. Now, when I'm saying stretching, I'm
Hmm.
talking about specifically passive stretching.
Yeah.
So again, passive stretching is like if you're in Supta Padangustasana, and you bring your leg up and you grab the leg and you pull the leg towards you, that's passive. If your arms are to the side and you're bringing the leg up, that's dynamic. So some people call that dynamic stretching. I don't like that word, dynamic stretching, but it's basically you're just moving the body dynamically. You're using your muscles. There's accountability. Anytime we passively stretch, we're going to cause damage at a neuromuscular level. We're going to cause stress. And that stress shuts down muscles. So yes, I would say anytime we stretch, it's not good.
Yes. So I'm correcting myself. Like so,
Yes.
like it's
But
not good. It will
but
definitely do
Avik,
harm.
but Avik, I just want to add one other thing.
Yeah.
And so some people might go, well, how do I know?
Hmm.
I can test the strength of a muscle before and after a stretch.
Okay.
And so if we test the muscle before and it's strong, and then we stretch, it will always test weak afterwards. It'll always test weak. And so the question then becomes, do you want to have weak muscles? Do you want to have a weak, neuromuscular response system? So yeah, anyways, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I was just like asking like if you can tell us more about why you hold this perspective. Like so you have mentioned this, but um like this approach that stretching is really not good. So because I have heard most of the people that we should do stretching while going for any session, or maybe going for a gym. We should do some stretching before
Yes.
starting the exercises or asanas, anything. So why it called that we need to start with stretching? So what is the concept behind it?
So the concept is that the reason why is because, as I was just mentioning earlier, when we stretch, we
Mm,
lose muscle function. So, like for example, one common stretch that you do is hugging your knees to your chest, apanasana. So a lot of people do that. Well, if you do that stretch, it is a stretch, you hug the knees to your chest, all the muscles in your legs stop working. Well, if they're not working, and I'm going to go to if I go and do apanasana and then I go for a run or I go for the treadmill or I do some, CrossFit, maybe some lifts, well, I no longer have the support of the muscles in my legs, and I no longer have the support of the muscles in my abdominals or in my back. Well, if I'm lifting weights, I need those muscles to be working. So the wrong thing to do is to stretch before you work out because you're going to lose those muscles. You're going to lose those muscles from working. And what you should do is do some muscle activation practices to get those muscles actually working better. And so one of the things like people go, well, I'm not that flexible. I don't have a lot of range of motion. Like if you ask people to bring their arms up, to the sky, a lot of people can't lift their arms higher than this, or maybe here. Very few people can do that. Well, they think, well, I need to stretch my arms, but that's actually not. So what we forget is that what moves bones is muscles. Muscles move bones. And so muscles move bones by shortening, not by elongating. They move bones by shortening. They need to contract properly. If those muscles are not contracting properly, the bones don't move. So what we consistently find is that if you want to improve range of motion, get the muscles working better. And stretching actually causes the muscles to not work better. It causes the muscles to actually shut down and not do their job properly.
oh, that's a great learning, I would say. Definitely. Yes, definitely. It's a good learning, I would say. So
Yes.
so also like
It's a hard
transition.
concept,
Yeah.
Avik, because it's a hard concept for people to understand because we've been so indoctrinated, we've been
Mm.
so, as you said, told. And so the people saying that we should stretch don't know why they're saying it because they've been told it and they've been told it. So I often say that the blind are leading the blind, and nobody has really stopped to say, is this actually a good idea? Is stretching actually making us stronger or weaker? Nobody has stopped and said, well, what is the purpose of muscle function? What are muscles actually supposed to do? And this kind of blows my mind that, nobody really has stopped to kind of, I guess, kind of challenge the system or challenge our way of thinking. And so, a lot of when you read articles online about, oh, you should stretch, nobody says exactly what is going on with the stretching. Nobody says, well, this is actually why you should stretch, and this is biomechanically what's going on. And if you look at the biomechanics of stretching, you realize actually this is not a good idea. When you dig into the anatomy and physiology of it, you realize this is actually kind of not smart. This is not intelligent. So why are we doing this? And it just blows my mind that I'm one of the first people to come and say, stop stretching.
Exactly, exactly. So like from this, like also want to understand like uh, transitioning from the traditional stretching practices to a new approach can come with its challenges, definitely. So, what are some common misconceptions or obstacles that people may face? And also, like, how can they overcome them when adopting your yoga approach?
Well, it's kind of it is a hard process. I have a lot of empathy for people as they're going through this
Yeah.
because I've seen people go, well, what you're saying is right, Yogi Aaron, and yes, I'm going to activate, but then I turn around and then they're stretching again. And so that habit of, it's very human for us to go to what we know and we feel comfortable in what we know. But as Patanjali, the great sage Patanjali said, we must correct our wrong knowledge.
Yes, we must unlearn what we learn incorrectly, definitely.
Yes, we must unlearn what we've learned. And so to support people, I think people just have to slowly give themselves permission to slowly start to adopt it. As I said when we were meeting before the interview, I have a 7-day pain-free series that usually blows people away. They're completely like, oh my God, this really works. And you just start to, you start to dive into it and then you bring it into your consciousness. And the thing is, like, people start to feel better, and and then we see it working. So for example, with me, sometimes when I'm on my computer and I'm sitting a lot and I'm doing a lot of work, my back will start to hurt and I don't stretch it anymore. I know now that if my back is hurting, it's because my core muscles are not working. My hip flexors are not working. So I actually did 2 muscle activations. I call them quick hacks to get them working. As soon as I do that, the pain goes away. So part of our journey is to unlearn what we've learned, but we need to also learn new knowledge. We need to learn correct knowledge. We need to learn better knowledge about our body. And part of what motivates me, Avik, is because so many people like me have ended up in a surgeon's office saying, you need to have a shoulder replacement, you need to have a knee replacement, you need to have a hip replacement, you need to get spinal fusion. We should not be living like this. This should not be our stories. And so I want to flip the script on these stories. And so part of my passion is to create the resources for people to be able to access this information and be able to access this information.
Wow, wow. So, your personal journey has definitely, undoubtedly shaped your understanding of pain management and the pursuit of a pain-free life. So,
Yes.
could you also share something or maybe tell us how your transformative experiences uh, have influenced your teachings in the realm?
Sorry, can you ask that question one more time?
Yeah, so definitely there is a change or the good understanding that of you regarding the pain management and the pain-free life. So could you share some experiences that have influenced your teachings?
Um, some experiences. Well, as I mentioned, did you want like more like my physical experiences or my yogic teaching
Anything like
experiences?
about
Anything.
the pain-free life, yes, about the pain-free life and the pain management you have done, yes.
Yeah, there's so many ways to answer that question. I think, I think the biggest one for me was ending up in a surgeon's office. And after practicing yoga for 25 years, realizing that everything I had been learning physically about asana, not about yoga per se, but has really was not right and was actually making my problems worse. And so that kind of made me stop and re-examine everything and kind of really ask the question, or deepen my understanding of that question. Why do we practice asana? What is Patanjali truly teaching us? So Patanjali uses this word stira sukha, stiram sukham asanam, and so stira means stability. It also means stillness. How still can we be in the body? The root word sti means still, but the word together basically says, like, how stable can we become? And for me, that word stability it means so many things. It means that ultimately the goal is to become still in body, therefore still in mind. But in order for us to become still, we have to be stable. And so for me, that word stability also means, the word stira means becoming pain-free. How do we lessen pain in the body? Because you cannot meditate if you're in pain. You can't meditate and be with God if your lower back is killing you. You're just all the time, your mind is like, my God, my back hurts. So we need to become pain-free. And why do we become pain-free? Because ultimately the goal is to live our life purpose. In the first four sutras, Patanjali is very clear that we all have purpose. And so the yogic teachings are there for us to become more aligned with our purpose. And then as we become more aligned with our purpose, we become more aligned with God. And we can't do that if we're in pain. We cannot do that if we're unstable. So for me, this word stability, this word stira, really has also taken on this idea of helping people to become pain-free, because as we become pain-free, our mind is no longer focused on the pain. Our mind is focused on living the purpose of our life and being closer to the divine.
Yes, exactly true. Exactly. Um, so like before we wrap up, like looking ahead, what are your hopes and aspirations for the future of your new yogic approach? And how do you envision its impact the lives of
Yes.
individuals who are seeking to achieve the pain-free body?
So I just want to clear up one thing. I wouldn't say, like, the AYAMA methodology is more of a physical way of looking at the body. When people ask me what kind of yoga I teach hatha yoga, and I use AYAMA to achieve hatha. And so I just wanted to kind of put that out in the onset. I'm very much a traditional yoga person. And my goal with teaching people AYAMA and getting people into this systemology is to get people more aligned with what yoga's real intention is. You've heard me quote Patanjali a few times. I'm very much a student of the scriptures. I try to be anyways. And I believe, I think that the sages left us this beautiful gift that's like a very special jewel, a special diamond, if you will. And it just radiates so much wealth of knowledge. And when we turn our attention to it, we turn our attention to the best parts of our humanity. And so that's what I hope to impart to people with the Yama, is reconnecting people to yoga's true intentions, and helping them to realize this beautiful gift that we've been given, and then of course to become pain-free.
Exactly true. So yeah, that's a great thing, I would say. And yes, and it was a lot more informative and lot more knowledgeable session, I would say, this today's episode. And that's definitely brings us to the end of this enlightening episode, which I am definitely not happy to end it, but yes, because of the time and other thing. But for sure, definitely would love to connect again on some another topics related to the yoga postures, how to relieve pain, because when we have Yogi Aaron, so definitely we can't think of something bad. Definitely, there will be something definitely good. So with this approach only, we really have explored the revolutionary approach to flexibility and the pain management with the incredible Yogi Aaron. So we definitely hope that our listeners and have definitely gained valuable insights and the inspirations to embark on their own journey towards a pain-free body and more fulfilling yoga practice. So
Yes.
also like for the listeners, like always remember that embracing the new yogic approach involves letting go of the traditional stretching dogmas and cultivating mindfulness, alignment, and the awareness. So by doing so, you can unlock the true potential of your body and the experience the profound mind body connection that yoga offers. So we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Yogi Aaron for sharing his wisdom, expertise, and the transformative experiences with us today. So his dedication to helping others live pain-free lives is truly inspiring. And we encourage you to explore his books, podcasts, and the resources available through the Yogi Club and the Blue OSA Yoga Retreat and Spa. So, thank you for wonderful listeners for joining us on this journey towards a healthier mind and a healthier body. So, we hope you continue to prioritize your well being and seek innovative approaches to enhance your lives. So, be sure to subscribe to our podcast, Healthy Mind and Healthy Life, for future episodes featuring experts and thought leaders who share their wisdom on various aspects of holistic well being. So, until next time, keep nourishing your mind, body, and the soul. This is your host, Avik, signing off, wishing you all a vibrant and pain free journey ahead. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avik.